for having me here. My name is Mathias. To be honest, I'm only a CEO, so don't expect too much from my talk, please. No, it's not a big deal, because I'm very happy to have our lead developer with us. He's degraded to a camera guy today. This is Thomas. And if you really want to talk about something substantial, then please ask him. That's it. Okay, that's for a short introduction. Is anybody in the room who has heard anything about pascom, our company? Ever? No, one. This is our fanboy. I have really great gummy bears with me. So thank you for being a pascom fan. Thank you a lot. So that's what I expected. Nobody knows us, and that's why I have two slides. Who we are and from where we are. So this is Germany. You are located at the moment here in Berlin, just to be sure. Yeah? Maybe? You don't know? Yes. Here we are located at the edge of Germany. It's really nice there. I have a close-up. What you can see is forest. Much forest. So I really try that you can understand me. The problem is German is not my mother language. I'm talking Lower Bavarian and a special kind of dialect. So this is the Danube. I think you know the river Danube, maybe. And even the dialect is another dialect on this side than on that side. So the first 10 years in school, we just try to learn our first foreign language, which is German. And then we try to learn English, but there is not much time left to do this. So don't hate me. That's our team. We are about 20 guys, which are programming software PBX, which is called MobyDick. And most of the time we try to program, and the other time we are doing business, as you can see. And before you ask, I'm getting fatter and fatter every year. Yes, that's true. Sorry for that. This presenter does not work any longer. I'm too dynamic. Now it's working. MobyDick. What is MobyDick? Sorry for 2 marketing slides. I want to show you what is MobyDick, because you have to understand what is our product, that you can understand what we did with our product. So sorry for that. But MobyDick is a software PBX, which is mainly based on Asterisk and other things, other open source projects. What is the difference to other PBXs? It is a kind of live disk. We already use UniFS layers over our live disk to store it on the hard disk, but mainly we can just exchange an ISO file, just one file, and we can update and downgrade the whole system. So we have a kind of cool update mechanism, and we know what the customer changed to our system. So it's not the problem that you say, we have Asterisk version, blah, and the customer upgraded the kernel to version, I don't know, and so we run into trouble. So we can say, MobyDick in that version has that components. And we are sure, and it's easy for our support team to maintain all the stuff. So that's what we did, and for sure we try to integrate as many providers, as many zip carriers, as many gateways, as many phones as we can, and do auto provisioning. So that's our product. And another main topic of our product is a client. We have a client which is running on almost every public big platform, Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iPhone. They're integrated soft phones, so we can do stuff like out-of-the-box calling, video conferencing, stuff like this. But we can also remote control all your hardware desk phones. So we do provisioning, and we can remote control, and you can choose either to use a soft phone or to use a hard phone. So that's it. That were the marketing part. So moving to the cloud, why? And that's easy because our partners wanted it. So we are always doing on-site installations. So you get the ISO file, you have your own servers, you have a virtual machine, you install your PBX, and that's it. And our partners ask us, hey, this product is good, but I am a city carrier, I am a hosting company, how can I host it? How can I do maintenance? How can I move to the cloud with your product? So this was mainly the reason why we searched for, Then we had several ideas. What do you think is the first idea you have with this architecture to move it to the cloud. Anybody who has an idea? Nobody? Sorry? It is cheaper. Yes, that's true. You earn MobyBear. Thank you. Other ideas? How to do it? Yeah, you don't have to maintain the infrastructure. That's another thing. Has anybody idea how you can achieve it? Virtualization, blah, blah. What's the first thing in mind? Amazon. Yes. You said Amazon, so you earned a good beer. I have a contract with Amazon. No. So there could be some ideas how you can do it and why you can do it. So what was our first idea? Our first idea was to let the fillet cut out of MobyDick. We thought, okay, we have much knowledge about zip and stuff and blah, and just refactor everything, cut out what is good in MobyDick, and just build a new, huge, great, single cloud stack, super, and so on. That was the first idea. This has some drawbacks for us. Why? We have many customers with individual patches, individual Asterisk scripts on there. They have third-party integrations. They rely on APIs. So they want a single instance for themselves. They don't want the big cloud solution and then they can change nothing. They want a very flexible solution. So one big cloud thing was not a good idea for us because of those facts. No more individual MobyDick instances per customers. This was a problem, I think. And also, if you think about security, we want to enable our customers to use Asterisk scripts. If you have one big Asterisk instance and you allow your customers to write scripts, then I don't know if I'm wrong, so please correct me, but I think it's very hard to make it secure that you cannot jump in the script to another part of the type plan, stuff like this. So I think it's complicated. The next thing is, started refactoring couldn't stop. That's, as a CEO perspective, that's the most important thing, I think. If you start refactoring, you don't know how long it will take, and you think, oh, it's easy, I just cut out this, and I reconnect that, and that's a new product, great. Everything is good, and then you think, okay, no, doesn't work. It's much more effort than you thought. So refactoring is dangerous. The most important part, because we did not do it like this, is the sad whale. We could not rip out something, and it's not good if you have a sad team member, so you should avoid sad team members, just don't do it. Moving to the cloud, what was our second idea? Our second idea was start a virtual machine per customer. If you're a pascom fanboy, this is a really existing wallpaper you can buy with the MobyDick, a cloud, and a sweetheart. That's great. You can buy it online if you want to. And this was our second idea, start a virtual machine per customer. What are the drawbacks here? It's hard to manage, scale, and secure. If you think you just start one instance, another instance, another instance, another instance, how should you manage it? Maybe it is possible, you could do it for sure, but I think it's hard, and it's hard to scale. And the next thing, it's a waste of resources. You have an overhead by each appliance you're starting. You have the full virtualization layer, and maybe this is a big waste of resources. So what did was moving to the cloud, what we actually did. We had 3 design goals which we tried to reach. The first was everything should be hosted in containers because it's modern and funky. No, because it has really advantages, I will tell you. The next was try to design ephemeral containers. Ephemeral, everybody knows what ephemeral means? Yes? No? Yes, somebody? Yes, you just wanted gummy bears. Ephemeral means one-way containers. So you use them once and then throw them away. So I think this is one of the design goals we had in mind. The next is keep it simple and inexpensive. That's my, that's a very good slide. Simple and inexpensive. Yeah, I'm the CEO, right? Keep it simple and inexpensive in terms of technology, hardware, and license costs. So easy technology. You don't have to buy big storage systems if your customer wants to host this on his own. Not everybody uses the Amazon cloud. So this was the 3 design goals. The general idea and how we set it up was like this. You have a number of hosts, in this case host A, B, C, and you have containers. There is only one container which has a clustered DB inside, so this is our brain, which is distributed over the hosts. And in front, you have a SBC, Session Border Controller, which is the only accessible part of our system. So every traffic goes through the Session Border Controller for sure. This is a common design, I think. And then we start the container for each MobyDick instance. The overhead for each instance is 200 MB of memory. And that's it. CPU is not so important in this case. I will show you later. And this is the overall design. So a container can start. He just copies or reads his configuration out of the database, and then he generates all his configuration files we actually need for Asterisk, for XMPP, for I don't know, generates them on the fly. So this is the idea behind, to generate it on the fly and be a kind of stateless or one-way container at this point. Also, our SBC should be a one-way container so that we can throw it away anytime we want. So this was the design goal, and we have a closer look to the SBC. Why? Because we're on the Kamailio world, and I think the SBC is the most interesting part for you. This is the close-up to the SBC. So how it works. Here's a DNS configuration. You have customer ABC at isp.com, I don't know. And we have 3 things, TLS, SRTP. We have the XMPP, we have chat protocol and stuff we need. And we have HTTPS for the management and stuff. So we call it all the session border controller. But you could say the only real session border controller is this one, but we just did it in one container. So HTTPS, Apache does redirection, SSL stuff, and so on. Here, Kamailio does its work. And here we have our own XMPP distributor running. So there is somebody who wants to connect to customer C. Then he asks the session border controller, and he knows which MobyDick is the right one, and he just redirects the traffic to the right destination. And you can ask every session border controller. We have a bunch of them on each host. And you can ask every controller, and every controller knows which host has which machine at the current state. This is something we did together with Daniel. We're using Asterisk 11, and Asterisk 11 does not know the concept of a path back in the zip header. So you cannot store the path where you are from. I think it's the XPath extension in the zip header. Asterisk 11 is not able to do it without patching, and we're using Asterisk 11. So what we did is Kamailio just gets a request, user@customer.a.isp.com, and then he adds to the contact where it is from and which was its path through our network, and then we can route it back. So Kamailio is almost stateless. Kamailio just has to know if it starts up which instance is hosted on which MobyDick, that's in the SQLite database, and that's it. And all the other states, the location states and so on are stored nowhere because we're just storing it in the zip information. Kamailio is for us also a security layer. To the outside world, we just do TLS SRTP. We can do this because we only support a range of phones which we tested. They are able to talk TLS, and our own soft phone for sure is also able to talk TLS. So we can rely on just TLS to the outside world, and Kamailio then converts it into insecure stuff that communicates inside. the virtual machines or inside our containers. Advantage of a single container. What is the advantage? Yes, that's one of the first advantages is every customer can have its own instance. So if you do something like an upgrade, you don't have to upgrade the whole cloud system you got. You only can say, I want to upgrade 10 instances for my customers, and then try, does it work? A kind of beta group or something. You can just try it. If it works, it's okay, you can mass deploy it. If not, you cannot. Or you can say, this customer wants to be on version, I don't know, and he stays there. It's also possible if you have one big cloud solution. I think it isn't. And of course, you can have patches, you can have individual stuff for each customer if you want to. And the last question, what we're using LXC. Why we are using this? Because we already have a whale, we don't need another whale, so we don't use Docker. Why we really don't use Docker is really great, but he manages all the file system stuff with layers and so on automatically, and we have already an approach for it, and it was harder for us to adapt our stuff to Docker than to just use LXC, which is more lightweight, and adapt the stuff we need to it. And that's it. I hope it was not too boring for you. And please, you can take the gummy bears. I don't want to carry them back home again. They're really good, juicy. So please grab just one if you want to before the coffee break.
Questions, Federico?
That's where Thomas jumps into the game. Maybe.
Hello. So you are using Kamailio as an SBC.
Yeah.
Do you implement it also a back-to-back user agent on it, or how do you deal with topology hiding and all related arguments?
I'm not lying, I do really know nothing. Even not where the switch is. There it is.
You can hear me? Yeah? Yeah. So actually, we're using Kamailio as a proxy in front of an asterisk. So each of the containers has its own asterisk, which does the real work. So voicemails and also facsimile and, of course, the usual phoning. So Kamailio is the proxy and, yeah, not deals really with the applications.
So you don't have a back-to-back user agent part implemented on the
No, really just the proxy.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Here, one, no. Here, about the containers, that was a good picture there. So you ended up with testing Docker for a while. I'm asking because it's quite hot topic there, and somehow was not providing you that flexibility, or you haven't really, or you just analyze it. Because my question is, if you played with Docker, it was something just behind that, file system layers that it's a bit, let's say, not friendly to the VoIP. Here, just as an example, like high throughput of, these RTP packets.
So as you know, Daniel, you visited us for a few days. We're not doing high volume systems, so of course we have to deal with performance and all this stuff. But yeah, we're not a provider. We're doing small instances, so let's say up to 200, 300 users per instance or per container now. We evaluated Docker. It's really a great system, and if I had to build something out of the scratch, probably I would choose the Docker. But we already had build infrastructure for our ISO files. We already, as Mathias said, we already do some kind of live disk, so we have the full build system. And actually, if you're going to the LXC, it's really just moving around a few files. We also have an overlay file system already. So for us, in this special case, it's just overhead.
Okay, yeah, because it was more in the context of this cloud, and I saw some news like Docker is dead, something else is cool now. So I was just trying to see if, yeah, it was.
You can read that every day that something is cool now and
Yeah.
the other thing is no more
So
cool.
indeed,
But-
Docker is cool, but it's not what we need for this platform.
Yeah,
And
okay.
also, yeah, it's a bit dangerous to introduce Docker because this system is also not something we're hosting at pascom. We're selling it as a whole, so you can install it to your own infrastructure and so on. And so if you're introducing Docker here, you might be tempted to install all kinds of containers into the same infrastructures. It's very open, and yeah, so probably we're opening the system too much.
Okay, yeah, good point. Other questions for now? Otherwise, thank you, Matthias. Thank you, Thomas.